Thanks for tuning in today and welcome to the Today session. Today we're going to talk about one wonderful topic, productivity. How better we need to be prepared and what is the importance of the first 4 hours of your day and how you can organize before you can even start your day. At the same time, understanding what is the key element that you need to put in place. Now let's try to understand the difference between a briefing and a meeting. Now, many people, I've been working in the hotel industry for about 22 years. And there's so much of things I have seen. I worked for 10 good reputed companies. And there are some places people do practice the timekeeping and time management, and very few leaders understand the importance of the first 4 hours of the day. And there are many, I can give you numbers, many people misunderstood the morning briefings to the long non-end meetings about 2 hours. Either they are not sure how actually a leader should function, or they are just not aware of the value of the time to the people who is working along with them and basically the leader who is leading the place. Now, it's very sad, if you enter in a meeting, a non-end, non-productive 2 hours meetings, first thing in the morning. Say, for example, your meeting starts at 9 o'clock. A non-stop meeting goes about 11:30, 12 p.m. You're ready for a lunch, drained out. There's no energy to go back and, to start your day, by the way. And I have seen this. I have seen this on and off, but ultimately, you go with the flow and try to bite your tongue and just got to live with the people you had to work with. And it all comes back to the person who is leading that place, who is the person who is leading or leader or, I would say hotel manager or general manager. First of all, they need to understand what is the timekeeping is all about. Now, if I have 8 hours given time, now if I kill my first 2 hours with the stupid briefing extended to the long non-end, non-productive meetings about 2 hours, I think some companies really need to really look into it and see, hey, what is this 2 hours? Is it being productive? Now, how we even have a meeting, such a long meetings, first of all, people need to understand, hey, it's a morning briefing, it's a morning briefing, not a long non-end meeting, about 2 hours. Okay, so let's see how we can do, and at some point of time, I'm sure you're going to lead as a department head, or if you have a business, you need to understand the timekeeping, and it's very essential and very important. And everybody energy is literally high in the first 3 to 4 hours, and that's where many leaders are killing those hours with all nonsense, non-end, no productivity. You should literally, if any organization literally puts the cameras in the training rooms or where the meeting happens, and if they say, hey, corporate office is really monitoring how long is your meetings are taking, I guarantee you, there won't be such long briefing come meetings. Yes, there are times you need to get to know and see what's happening, but that's an early morning is not a 2 hours meeting you required. Make it as short as a briefing. Now, what are the things that we can do in order for us to, at some point of time, you're going to grow? And it's always understand that, irrespective of how the people are doing, there will be a time whenever you are able to lead, this is what you should understand. People might not raise their voice because if you're a leader at that point of time, but, you can see the frustration and you can see, you just need to see how overall atmosphere brings down if you continuously have non-end meetings for 30 days and see, is that bringing you any productivity? That's something that as a leader you need to understand, you need to ask. Are they being productive? Are they really, these 2 hours is really helping anywhere to get there? And more importantly, then people need to understand the studies. A lot of studies suggest the main focus, you can't go a minimum to 15 minutes to the 45 minutes is the maximum that anyone can concentrate. Now that again depends on what kind of a mental caliber you have. 45 minutes. I mean, like, no wonder if you go back to see the TED Talks, it's not more than 15 to 18 minutes or maximum to the 22 minutes. And they understood something that, people cannot listen to the blabbers, which is happening. So they streamline the process. Probably that's why they're succeeding, right? Now, I mean, you can be a smaller or bigger or anywhere. Try to have the first 15 minutes of that morning briefing, and it has to be just 15 minutes. And then if you have some simple rules such as, okay, the morning briefings has to be 15 minutes, and you discuss only for the day what needs to be necessary in order to what is need to be achieved during the day. And you don't need to talk about, your visions and goals you have for 6 months, or that is a different timing altogether, and that's where the meetings comes place, and then in a different time altogether, not the place where you talk about your morning briefings. Even if you talk about that, that's not bringing any results to you. So you need to focus that 15 minutes, what is that essence, what is it something that we are achieving, try to achieving during the day. That's what you should be mainly focusing on. So the first 15 minutes, latest to 18 to 20 minutes should be the timer on, and they say, what, when the time is up, everybody's moving. So when you streamline and stress the priority, the room goes faster, and then people will love that. It's not just because later is blabbering for 2 hours. Mostly it's one way, not the combined meeting, I would say, where the people are seeing their views. It's just one person talking, and other 6 to 7 or 8 people are literally going through the feeds, watching the Instagrams, and doing all the things, killing the time. This is what is happening, killing the time. The first step is have a short meetings, 15, latest by the 20 minutes, and have the focus, what is the meeting is all about, and what is the agenda of that morning briefing. I'm not getting into the meeting now. What is the agenda of the morning briefing? What are the key essential things? The entire room should be knowing it. And is there any major problems which happened previous day, and what is the focus on achieving today and the way forward? It has to be simple, straightforward, less than 5 words. If you can't explain a problem or the solution less than 5 words, zip your mouth, go back and work it out. This is one of the American Express Vice President Christian Frank had mentioned in one of his the meetings, that the solution has to be, or anyone who is speaking in the meetings has to be 5 words or less. That's so precise, So you don't have to give your non-ending, non-solutions, which doesn't bring any clarity to many people with the technical words you're talking. So it has to be simple, meaningful, and understandable if the entire room is getting the message, if you have anything in common to the people. Otherwise, you're a department head. Deal with these situations what you have. Not everybody needs to know what you're doing on a daily basis, right? And some people love to do or show or say, things, but hey, come on, you are heading a department. Make sure you do what needs to be necessary. But if there is something that in common interest, what other people need to know, that's what you need to express. If not, zip your mouth, take the information, move on, get on to your work. That's something that. So if you avoid the phones, there are many companies I have worked also. One of our bosses used to say, hey, before you enter a briefings, there used to be a tray, put the phones there, you get onto it, 15 minutes, 18 minutes, you're out of the game. So that you can focus your energy to get what needs to be done, so that you have a lot of energy to put to the work in order for you to get desired results. Not you drain the entire day, half of your day before the meetings, and then you straight away heading to the lunch and gossip about what didn't go well or what happened for another 1 hour, and then you kill the day, and rest things is a history, and then everyone thinks that they're doing fantastically well. So that is something that should be gauged. 15 or 20 minutes or less a meeting. Before you enter into the meeting areas, make sure the phones are switched off or it's in a flight mode entrance. And then the one interesting thing, as I had mentioned, is the timer. Timer really works, 15 to 20 minutes maximum, whatever the time. Beyond that, either ways, people are not listening. So you need to ask yourself, hey, you know what, I need to blabber after 20 minutes and where nothing is getting there, or should I close my meeting or briefing at 20 minutes and see, maybe end of the day, you might need a shorter briefing to see what all we do and what is the way focus for the next day. I mean, if that's necessary. Instead of having the 2 hours morning meetings or morning briefings, you could have 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon before the end of the day, so that that brings you the common essence of what we are heading to. No PPTs, no. Morning briefing don't need to have a PPTs, laptops, and then importantly, if you have a meetings standing in a place where group of people are standing, I can you imagine if your leader is standing and he has to stand for 2 hours and give you a lecture? I think he'll get tired too. So when you become to the level also, so when you have standing meetings, I'm positive the meetings won't be longer, to the point. Those are some of the important things that you need to observe and try to define difference between a briefing and a meeting. Yes, we all required to have a meetings and the way forward. If someone has a goals, to say, not just going with the flow. So you identify another once in a month, end of the month, or every 15 days to see. You can have those ones that are longer, but not longer than 45 minutes, because again, 45 minutes beyond killer. There's nothing is happening or nothing is. You can go back and refer a lot of studies. Says 45 minutes is the deadline. You need to have a meeting, or you need to give right after 45 minutes have a short break. I attended a training with Getting Things Done by David Allen. You should see, these are the tactics and these are the things that how you can bring the results to the company you're working for, and or else you're managing a place. If it is only your business you're managing, you need to understand this essence of the timekeeping, and those 5 hours for us is the first 4 or 5 hours are very important and critical. Later days, the energy goes down because what are the situations we're going through. Now, if you don't understand those basic things as a leader, being a manager or running your own business, so on and so forth, you're basically not getting anywhere because you're draining entire energy of the people who you're working with. End of the day, if I am a leader, if a company is given certain executives or managers, and if I'm draining everyone because of my because since I don't understand what the timekeeping is all about, and the same thing which I am giving down to, what are the hours that they're going to do when they grow up and to the next levels, and what are the things they're going to do? They're going to just follow one monkey, didn't follow right things, what needs to be done. You don't need to. This is not rocket science. You as long as you keep getting educated and exactly, and then the focus. Ask yourself, have you ever focused on a certain task or anything beyond 45 minutes? Unless until if someone, the top management or top officials are talking, people do really pay attention. We have an ongoing 2 hours meeting every day morning instead of a briefings, and that goes on for a while, and then they reach to a dead zone, and you're talking to a people who doesn't respond. There's no creativity, there's no energy. Only the person who can think that just because he can throw off all the things or frustrations which comes out of that person, it doesn't mean that people are getting it. People are just discarded a long time ago. So you really need to understand the pulse of the people you're working with, and making them understand, what is important. Ask them, like if someone you're meeting on a daily basis and someone has nothing to say, that means, you don't need a HR person sitting there for 2 hours early in the mornings, man. Come on, just wake up and just see what productivity you can do. And then with the switch of social and technology, what we have, I'm sure many companies go through with a lot of these WhatsApp groups and so on and so forth, but to the point, to the essence, of course, you can't. There was a manager who used to send a message at 10 o'clock in the evening, and then he was expecting, I didn't get a response. I said, hey, you know what, I'm sleeping, and I don't check WhatsApp messages while I sleep. So I'm sorry. I also, if there is something I'm out of the game, out of the place, there is always someone who is in charge or responsible who is heading the day or shift or so on and so forth. To understand, just because you're a manager, just because you're a leader, it doesn't mean that all other people are working for 24 hours. Respect the timings. If you have a group, use that work purposes during the work hours. And if there is something really, really emergency, something is really, there's a fire burning, so on and so forth, just call up. That time you don't need to send a message. Hey, you know what? There is an emergency. I think we really need to work it out. Let's go. that's the way you deal with it. You don't just send messages for some stupid things and expect that the next day, oh yeah, I was expecting, oh man, you have nothing to do. I mean, I have a family or have a, and I'm resting, so on and so forth. So people need to really understand and gauge and understand when you are leading or when you get to the next levels of positions. Try to understand, everyone has a family at the same time. When you are working, you're working. Your focus it should not be when you're working and then you're thinking about the family. And when you go to the office, when you go to the family and you're thinking about the work, so it doesn't work function, and then you don't do well in both areas. So, as a leader, there are many things or pulses you need to check and see what best can work for the people you're working with, and then be open and see, what is this bringing to a productively or not? What can we do better? How efficiently can we use the technology in order to communicate to each other what's happening within the hotel or within the organization or within the businesses, wherever you're doing it. And then when you do a streamline, trust me, long meetings are not necessary. Yes, there are time to time you need to see where we stand, where's the way progress, and then what are the improvements we need to do. The daily briefings to the focus on a day, not the history for the next of the year. You need to discuss every day, day on day, and day after day. I hope that helps, and thanks for watching, and stay productive. And if you ever lead any places, be it one person you're leading or 10 persons you're leading, eventually you will get to the next levels. Try to understand and the essence of the time is very key and very essential. Make use the best of your time so that your team members so that your executives can use the best efficient hours for a productive day. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon, and stay blessed.